The tools didn't create extraction. Extraction created the tools. We are taught to think that finance is innovation, that derivatives, buybacks, securitization, and leverage are clever mechanisms designed to make the system more efficient. But step back for a minute and ask a simpler question. Why do these tools exist at all? They exist because the system requires continuous extraction. So let's define it clearly. Extraction is the process of transferring real economic value, your labor, income, your home, your health, even your food, into financial returns that must be paid, even when no equivalent value has been created in return. It is not earned through production, it is enforced through obligation. And that obligation begins at the root of the system. Money as it is today is largely created through debt. So when new money enters the system, it does not arrive as earned value. It arrives as a loan with interest attached. That means more money is owed back than was created in the first place. And the gap between what exists and what is owed must be filled. That gap is extraction. In a financialized economy, money is not just a medium of exchange, it's a claim on future production. And when those claims grow faster than the real economy, something has to give. And that something, it's you. So, what does this actually mean in the real world when we say financial returns exceed the value created and are owed regardless of outcome? It means this: someone gets paid, even if nothing new of real value was created, and even if the outcome is worse for everyone else. And here's the part that matters most: they don't get paid out of thin air. They get paid through you, through higher prices, higher bills, higher costs of things you can't avoid: your home, your healthcare, your food, your energy. Let's take your home. You borrow $400,000, and over time, you may pay probably around $700,000 or more. The house didn't become more real. It didn't double in utility, but your obligation is fixed. So you work more, you stretch more, you sacrifice more. The value is pulled from your life to satisfy the financial return. That difference is extraction. Now, take a look at credit cards. You buy $5,000 worth of goods on a credit card, and you might pay somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000. Where does that extra money come from? It comes from your future labor, your future spending, or from cutting back on other necessities. Again, the system pulls more out than it put in. Now, zoom out to companies. A company takes on debt, and now it owes returns to the lenders and shareholders. How does it pay? It raises prices, it cuts labor, it reduces quality, not because it created more value, but because it has to extract more value. So your bill goes up while what you receive stays the same or gets worse. Even if the product didn't improve, even if the workers get paid less, the return is still owed. And then there's the clearest example: stock buybacks. A company generates cash. Sometimes it even takes loans for this. And instead of building something new with that money, it reduces the share count to increase earnings per share. The stock price rises. Executives get bonuses. Shareholders get paid. How? Not from new value, but from a system that continues to raise prices, holds wages down, and pulls more from the real economy to support these financial returns. And here's where it becomes generational. I pay the interest, but my children, they pay something else too. They pay the higher price of the asset itself, because as debt expands, asset prices rise with it. Homes get more expensive. Education gets more expensive. Everything required to live gets more expensive. So the next generation doesn't just inherit the system, they inherit the inflated entry point and they have to pay the same interest. Obligations are layered on top of real value. So that $400,000 home that cost me 700,000 is going to be a million for them. You paid interest on a $400,000 home. They pay interest on a $700,000 home for the same shelter, the same utility, and the value that makes up that difference is pulled from their future before they even begin. This is not just extraction, it is compounding extraction across generations. It is siphoning life forward to satisfy obligations created in the past and often to continue paying returns to those who have already accumulated massive wealth from this same system. And here's the connection that matters most. When money is created through debt, more is always owed than was created. So the system must close the gap, and it closes it by reaching into your life, into your children's lives, and increasing the cost of everything required to live. Extraction isn't a side effect, it's how the system gets paid. And the tools, they're just how it gets done. If you're going to be a bear, be a grizzly.